From the Eastern Bloc to American rock, welcome to At This Moment on freedomslips.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am Angela Black, in case you didn't know, and this show is called At This Moment. Why? Well, because it takes place right now. And you are listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the number one 100% listener-supported radio station on the planet and possibly beyond. All right. If you don't know who my guest is, I'm very excited to tell you he's not here yet. He can't be bothered with my intro. I'm totally kidding. But tonight, I'm very, very excited to announce to you all that my guest will be the one and only John B. Wells, joining me for the next 2 hours here on Studio B, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. And we are listener supported, so if you can find a couple of bucks in your pocket for donating to the cause, we would greatly appreciate that. All you have to do is go to the homepage, which is freedomslips.com. Up at the top of the page, it's a support button or tab, if you like, and it will tell you many ways that you can help the station. Or if you are part of the chat, well, then we're very excited to have you. That is a chat tab on the top of the homepage, and join the chat. Get yourself a nickname. Find yourself interacting with all of the fun folk here at Revolution Radio. There are two studios A and B. So there's a simultaneous conversation going on in the chat, and it's always fun deciphering and seeing how much attention you can pay to one thing at one time. And at the side of that chat room is the donate button. It's on the left. And, you can find yourself with a lot of information on how to keep this truth boat floating. Yeah, so you can do things like subscribe to the archives. And for no other reason, you can subscribe to the archives so that you can re-listen to tonight's show already as soon as tomorrow. And that's $5 a month, you guys. It's ridiculously awesome. And it gives you access to all of the shows, 72 hosts, 2 studios, and it's usually available within 24 hours. So I recommend it. It's a small thing. And it's also a big thing at the same time. So let me see. I've got some Skypes coming in. And just so you all know that John B. Wells is, I'm going to do the intro when he gets here. But he's got a website, and if you haven't visited it, I would highly recommend you do so. That is caravantomidnight.com, just like it sounds. And he's got his own website going because we'll just get into it when he gets here. How's that? I'm expecting his call in a few minutes. Other ways that you guys can donate are the seed packs. Let's get back into the donating thing for a minute. Do some biz here. Hold on a second. Let me grab this call. I'm so nervous. Welcome to the show, Mr. John B. Wells.
Hello, Ms. Black. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine, thanks. I was doing just a little finishing up with a little business about donating to the cause here, and just glad to have you here. And if you can hang out for a few minutes, I'll roll with you.
Okay.
Sounds exciting. Okay, so the other way to donate, people, is to find yourself looking at the seed packs. There are 3 different levels. There's the $60 seed pack, the $100 seed pack, and the $200 seed pack. And for April only, if you donate $100, you get that seed pack, which is 35,000 seeds, but also a free included 1-ounce silver bar from Nighthawk, the owner of the station himself. And what a bargain that is. I mean, seeds and silver all in the same breath. That's amazing. So please do find yourself at the donate button on the side of the chat room. And if you're listening out there through TuneIn and or iTunes and or TalkStream Live, well, welcome to the show, and we do invite you to join us at the homepage whenever you get a chance. All right, without further ado, again, this is Angela Black, and the show is called At This Moment, and I am thrilled to welcome to the show the one, the only, John B. Wells of Caravan to Midnight. And I've got my seatbelt on, and I'm very excited. So welcome to the show, John B. Wells.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. That's a wonderful intro. And by the way, has anyone told you you have a very nice voice?
Why, thank you, and back at ya.
You know, if it comes to it, we could always sell out and do morning radio in L.A. or something, but oh, what an existence.
I actually lived in that world for a minute. Yes, I was up at 4 a.m. I was actually working for a show, for Jamie and Danny Bonaducci. I was working for that show, and boy, that was a ride. And that's an early day, every day, all the time, and indeed, in my opinion, a sellout as well.
Might be just a little bit, yeah. Well, I don't mind getting off the air at 4, but I don't know about going on the air at 4. That's a little bit of a stretch. So, my hat's off to you for doing it at all.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, it was fun, and I got the pleasure of Danny Bonaducci himself calling me. My nickname by him was Freak Show, and I thought, hey, if Danny Bonaducci is calling you Freak Show, I don't really have the end of that. I know. I was like, wow. Thanks, Mr. Danny Bonaducci person.
Yes.
So,
Danny
anyway.
Bonaducci.
Yeah, there's one. He's still broadcasting. I think he's up in Seattle or something like that right now. Not actually.
Oh, that's a good spot.
Yeah.
Rains a lot, but other than that, it's great.
Yeah, exactly. So, now you have a website, and it is caravantomidnight.com. And, indeed, you are the commander of the network, if I may call you that. And if I can, I'll tell the audience a little bit, just a quick, ridiculously short summary of exactly who you are. And again, this is just a short summary, but on your website it says that you are the leader of Caravan to Midnight. John B. Wells, an actor, musician, writer, investigative journalist, composer, martial artist, aviator, and broadcaster, John B. Wells finds the ancient sage advice of concentrating on just one thing to be true. His one thing is the arts. John is also an internationally renowned voiceover artist with credits ranging from serving as the announcer for CBS's The Late Show with Craig Kilborn to voicing promos for hit television shows like Discovery Channel's Deadliest Catch and Gold Rush. And he has also lent his voice to films like Oliver Stone's JFK. Talk Radio is another one, and you're doing voiceovers also for the popular series Unsealed Alien Files. I think that has come to a close by chance. I think it's come to a close. So anyway, you've also performed weekend duties as the top-rated host of the nationally syndicated overnight radio show Coast to Coast AM, and after frequently serving as a guest host over there, in January 2012, you became the Saturday evening host of the most listened to overnight program in the history of the universe. And you held that seat until January 2014. Now, that whole thing happened, and I might see if you want to talk a little bit about why you left or when you left, and how you came to find yourself doing the truth on your own terms, which I think is, one and the same. It's hopefully the way the truth should be. So anyway, here we are, and there's of course lots of crap going on in the world, and it's tough. I'm a cheery person, I'm a happy person, etc. But my job here, doing the news and finding myself in the truth movement, is to often explore really bad news on a regular basis, and I hope to explore some really bad news with you this evening. John, may I call you John?
Absolutely.
All right, great. So, yes, here you are with Caravan to Midnight. That's been going strong for, about 14 months now?
Yep, just about. We passed our birthday on February 3rd of this year, so, yeah, it's rocking along pretty well. It's pretty amazing. You threw out a lot of stuff there, so we can. I'll just let you run it, and we'll just take on whatever points you want to, just one by one.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. The first thing I want to know is, obviously it's the elephant in the room. How did you find yourself leaving Coast to Coast? Did you want to get into that? I didn't have a chance to talk with you beforehand and see if that was taboo, but I figure if we could just peruse at least the time period and what brought you to decide to do Caravan to Midnight.
It's odd because I actually bought that domain name in 2006. I didn't really know what I was going to do with it, but I knew I was going to do something with it. And then one show came along in 2005 in December, and then another one, not another one until somewhere late summer. I want to say it was October. It might not have been. I think it may have been June even. But anyway, it's actually a long time ago now, in 2008. I can't believe that's 7 years ago. And it was wonderful. I got to interview Ray Bradbury. It was, he was just such a wonderful man, as well as an extraordinary visionary person and a superb writer. And then nothing happened in 2009, and then in 2010 they started picking me up for a few shows, and then in 11 there were a bunch of them, and then toward the end of 11, Ian Punnett, the longtime Saturday night host on Coast to Coast, was well, you know, he just had this tinnitus, or some people call it tinnitus. I think both pronunciations are correct, but in any case, it's not good, because you just hear this, you know, it makes it impossible to use headphones. It's too many years of headphones will do it to you. And I dodged a bullet on that one, because we used to use the big old clunky Koss headphones, those big plastic ones that just sounded great when you cranked them up to the hearing damage range. And
yeah. So
they asked me if I would take the Saturday night position at the end of 11, and I thought about it for about 2 seconds and told them I would. And after that, it was every Saturday night we got it on, you know. And one time they dropped me in from Tuesday night through Saturday night, and that, you know, that was kind of. And so of course, just about the time your circadian rhythm start to adjust to it, you go back to a daytime schedule and once a week. So it was rough on the Constitution a little bit to try and, you know, kind of not be a zombie on Monday, but it worked out pretty well. And then, you know, as time went by, I don't know, it was just little stuff. You know, people want to have control. I think they may have sensed that this person was difficult to control. Now, that's not really true in my view.
Talking about Ian Punnett.
No, myself, because I would get stuff like, you know, can you make your music a little bit more mainstream? Of course, the response was always, oh, absolutely, I'll do that. And of course, I would not do that. Just whatever fit the program is what I went for. And people enjoyed the music, and several people wrote articles about it. Going, I mean, I'd play the rubber band, the rubber band band, or whatever it was. I can't remember who it was. The Spinners, maybe. But one thing led to another, and the O word kept coming up.
The O word.
And it wasn't bad enough that, I mean, I wasn't joking, but I was doing that, sort of disguising how I really felt and saying how I really felt at the same time, while trying to make light of it. But it was basically, I can't stand the sound of him or the sight of him. You know, I'm just done with this president. Well, that was about it, and I backed off him for a while because people started flipping out, going, oh, don't do that, you know. And I'm like, okay. So then I finally had to say, if you don't want his name spoken, and you don't want anything derogatory or negative about him being broadcast, stop booking people who will say his name who are not complimentary. Okay? And but it's the same thing. If you go out there and mess up, that's a problem. If you have a partner with you and they mess up, that's your problem too. So that was the case. I mean, the fact that the guest might say something, that was my problem too. I wasn't going to censor them, say, you can't say that. It's like, let them say what they want. I mean, they haven't come on the program so that we can tell them what to say. That seems a little disingenuous.
Exactly.
So, by the time it's all over with, they were like, we're going to go a different direction. It's like, oh, okay. Well, what direction were we going that you didn't want to go, that you want to go a different one now? Oh, no, I really love what you do. It's just, you know, there are a lot of political shows you could do. It's like political shows. I've had everybody in there from, I mean, I kept a Satanist in the seat for 4 hours. I thought, really? If you're going to make me interview a Satanist, he's going to sit there with me for the entirety of the show. And I'd burn him out real good, you know, and I did, too. But
How to Burn Out a Satanist with John B. Wells.
Yeah, it was just keep talking, man. Before it's all over with, we'll know the whole story. And we did. So we didn't have the one Satanist on there. I never interviewed another Satanist. I don't know why. Maybe the Satanists decided that, well, maybe there's an easier target somewhere for us to get some exposure through. I'd like to think that anyway. But anyway, it was a great fit for a while, but people would come on the program and they would be, when I was doing like an open lines Friday or something, and they were, almost always. But even when we just took calls, because maybe a guest had a line problem or their phone died or whatever, and I said, let's just take a call for a minute while we reconnect, no big deal. And they were so complimentary that I thought, ooh, I don't think this is helpful. And I don't think it was helpful. When some interloper gets in there and starts, and I don't know how this happened either. I mean, they have a 45-second delay on that program, so why nobody hit the button when people would say things like, you need to take over the whole program? I thought, oh, Lord, you did nip that out, didn't you? No, it went over the air. Oh, it went over the air. Okay, thanks. So, you can't do that to the head guys. That's just, it's not cool to do that to the head guy. I get it. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, it was wonderful the audience responded that way, and on the other hand, it was like, that call screener should have been a little bit quicker on the button if they wanted to preserve the integrity. I mean, I didn't have anything against Nori, still don't. But, Nori does what he does, and I do what I do, and that's that. However, it was a little strange when, for a while there, it seemed like they couldn't make up their minds what caused my departure from the program. It's like, look, whatever explanation you decide to give people, you probably ought to pick one and stick with it rather than change it every few days. That doesn't look good, but it's neither here nor there. I got to tell you, Angela, I wouldn't have missed it. It was a lot of fun, and frankly, if it had not been for Coast to Coast AM, I don't think very many people would have known about me, despite the fact that I talk continuously. Logistically, it's impossible to get that many people go, oh, yeah, John Wells, we know him. So I'm very grateful for having had a nice tenure at Coast, and that was then, and this is now. So the moment that they let me go, which I believe was January 28th of 14, on the 3rd of February, we were up and running, and it was a long, rough, bumpy, scary, careening takeoff in fog and, wind shear and all of that. But we got it flying, and it's flying pretty well. And we've been blessed with just a multitude of really, really just excellent people. And I also have to tell you that the people who support us with their subscriptions, which are, by most accounts, I thought this was fair. I thought, this would be something that everybody can handle. It's not like 100 and whatever. It's $60 for a year, and they can break it down into quarters if it helps them. These are the most fantastic listeners that anyone could hope to ever have. They are so generous, and if they think that, well, you need to attend to this, then, they're interested. They're interested in making sure that they are, I would have to say, they are as interested in the show maintaining its integrity as I am. And in some cases, they're even more passionate about it, I think would be the best word. So this whole thing has been, and I have to say this, it may say I'm a leader of the Caravan. But I got to tell you, there is no way that I could have planned this myself. Mm-hmm. All I did, the leader of the Caravan is the great unseen one. If you look at our logo, I've never even met the artist that did our logo. He's a real bright kid, and he's up at University of North Texas. And there are 4 camels that go across our logo, but it appears that there's nobody on the front camel, the lead camel. And we didn't tell him to do that. But it worked out perfectly. It was just I see it as just another message that this kid decided to do this. Because that is the great unseen one. I'm actually I'm on the second camel from the front. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Because I got to tell you, Angela, all I did was I just stepped on the stepping stones that were laid out in front of me to take. But I couldn't have planned this with all the imagination and all the money in the world.
Right, and that's the best kind. The organic emergence of what has come to be a well-respected venue for the truth. You have amazing guests. I believe you just had Mark Dice on, 2 days ago, I think? And
he's a scream, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is amazing. Last night was Mia Pope, I believe. Or was that that last? Yeah, exactly. She was on my show last week, as a matter of fact, and she's an interesting one as well. But in general, those are just a couple. I mean, I think you have Chris Putnam, a lot of different guests that you've had. Jesse Ventura. Just the caliber is unseen. I mean, it's unheard of, really, on any level. And I think part of the reason that people not only decide to jump in and trust you in the first experience with you, but you establish, I was going to say experience, but you establish long-term relationships with these alternative media experts, etc., because you walk the walk. You don't have this. I mean, there's no scandal, at least yet. There's there's what you see is what you get. We hear that in your voice. You obviously have an amazing delivery style and the resonant tone to do so. But beside that, what you say is truly sincere, and you happen to be regarded as one of the one of the last honest newsmen out there. It was one of the quotes I had seen about you, and I just want to say that in general, what I'm noticing is that people who experience Caravan to Midnight as a guest on your program can't wait to return, and that's such a compliment in its own right. So.
Well, I like for them to have a good time, and I like to put them at ease and make them feel like they can just talk. And I do concentrate on what they're saying, and I try to bring something to their party rather than just putting the load on them. Just go, okay, But and you always, you like to leave if you start getting into those waters that you're not really sure how deep they are, you want to make sure that if they don't want to go there, I don't pressure them to do it. I mean, I'm sure that there are certain situations where I would say, listen, either come clean now, or I hate to tell you this, but you've just revealed something about your agenda and yourself that you may not have intended to let out of the bag like that. So would you like to revise your statement? Well, what do you mean by that? Would you like to change your Bravo Sierra story? That's what I mean. I got that from The Fugitive. Remember Tommy Lee Jones when he said, would you like to revise your statement, sir? And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, would you like to change your BS story?
Yes.
Like, yeah, those are the words. So, but the fact is, that has not happened. That has not happened. Now, we almost walked into a jackpot one time with somebody who wanted to, and this is why we are not live. Because we have a lot. One of these days we'll put out Caravan to Midnight, the movie, and we'll put a lot of that stuff in there. But not right now, because when somebody comes on the program and tries to sort of use the audience, let alone me, for some sort of a weird agenda, then it's just like I look at Mr. Ghost, and he looks at me. And we're reading each other's minds. He goes, we're not running this. It's like, you bet, you're absolutely right, we're not. He goes, wow, really? 2 days before Christmas, this guy opens the bed on his dump truck and puts it right there. I said, yep, right by the nativity scene. Let's move on and get on the phone. Get Rubini on this, or get somebody, get Kenny.
Yeah.
And, you know Ken.
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, I've had the pleasure of working with Ken now for just under a month, and I'm extremely lucky. And what a hoot that man is, and also what a gem.
Yeah, he really is. He's like 20 minutes out. It's like, okay, I'm thinking to myself, okay. So I ignored his text, and 10 minutes out, I'm thinking, I've got a clock, pal. It's an atomic clock. I know exactly what time it is. He's so funny, but I'll tell you, he's on it.
Yeah.
We need more like him. We need more people like that who are on it, that just don't want anything to screw up. Because a lot of people are prepared to just say, well, it was just a mistake. It's like, what?
Yeah.
We don't want any mistakes. I mean, enough stuff happens naturally without, like, is it lackadaisical or lackadaisical? I've seen it spelled both ways. Anyway, an inattentive attitude. So, can't say that about Kenny anyway. That's a plug for Kenny.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to Ken out there, Ken Keeling. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So I've watched that. You have a calming nature about you, and you do make people feel very comfortable in that time that they get to spend with you, or share with you, I should say. So I look forward to hearing the Mark Dice interview. I'm planning on subscribing to your website this week. As a matter of fact, I've been just kind of checking out your YouTube videos, as you guys will post some of those. I believe you have a person that works with you, an assistant or something who.
Well, there's a bunch of people now. I mean, for many years, when I was in the voiceover business, it got to be, hey, studio. Okay, I need a studio. I need an engineer. I got to have a secretary. I got to have an assistant. I got to have something here.
Yeah.
And then it turned into all I need is a laptop and an interface and a quiet room and the internet, and here we go. But now we got a bunch of people. There's 8 or 9 of us now. There's 9 people.
Wow,
including myself. Yeah.
That's awesome. So so I've caught a few of your interviews on YouTube, and that's a plus. But I definitely want to be a subscriber. I think it's excellent. We have it's $5 a month to be a member of Caravan to Midnight, aka CTM, and I think that's well worth it. Of course, people should be listening to this station, of course, which is
absolutely. Well,
Radio.
that's the beautiful thing. They listen to you when you come on. They can listen to us anytime. Mm-hmm. I mean, we put a new program up every night at 10 o'clock Central, which is 8 Pacific and 11 Eastern. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, we've got an app and all that, so you can listen to it whenever you want to.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, is it your show varies in length? Does it not, as you see fit? I've seen different lengths of recordings for your shows.
I know, isn't that something? And I don't know. I think people are okay with it because it's like, look, if this is the person that's coming on and this is how much stuff we have, then this is what we'll do. And we try to never to go less than 3 hours, but we have done that before. Mm-hmm. So by the time we play full-length music tracks and so forth, which hopefully most people who hear those songs like them. We don't put them on there thinking that they will not like them. We might even inject a little fun into their lives if some stuff they haven't heard before. And usually they come out for about 3 hours, but if we get on a roll, it may go 3.5 hours. It may go almost 4 hours.
Yeah. So
it's good to be able to just kind of do what you want. Just make sure that there's plenty of substance there. And if there's substance there, then people they're not going to be upset or annoyed if you're 10 minutes light on one particular program. Mm-hmm. Or if you're an hour long on another program. Now, radio stations wouldn't like that much, but this is not radio. This is television.
Ah, there you go. Cybervision.
Cybervision, yes. Kind of conjures up an image of Gort, doesn't it?
Yeah, Gort, or in my mind's eye, I'm seeing Max Headroom.
Yeah. Wow, Max Headroom. Now, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Oh, he's been popping up cool on my radar lately.
Like, you got to love Max. You got to.
Absolutely. He's currently starring in a show called Orphan Black. I think he just got killed off, his character did. But I think it's a Canadian show, and it's about clones, and it's a clone experiment, etc. And he played the I think his name is Brewer. I don't quote me on that. I'll figure out his name. But Max Headroom is in a current series, so that guy's still working, which is congratulations.
That's excellent. That is really good. You mentioned the YouTube channel. The reason we do that is because we want to put some stuff up there that people. There are some people out there. Now, my deal is, and probably yours is too, but I'm being presumptuous now. $5 a month isn't going to kill anybody, but that's really not the reality of things. $5 a month will kill some people's budgets. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to just keep it all to ourselves. And frankly, if we have a show that we think is, we need to put the whole thing up there and let everybody see this who will come to the channel. And they don't have to be a subscriber for this. They need this information. And so we do that. One case in point is the Boston Marathon event. Mm-hmm. David Weiss, he's got this thing called Down the Rabbit Hole. Or no, Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, sorry. And then an Australian guy named PK. As he's gotten on his own YouTube, he's like gets going, and he's kind of rough, but he's a good investigator. And by the way, those pictures, this program is just laden with pictures. And if anybody can explain to me, this is I'll give you just 2 examples of what a phony looking mess that is. And it's so well done. When you go out on the clothesline and go something like the alleged bombing at the Boston Marathon mm-hmm. is somehow not everything that meets the eye. You better come up with something that substantiates that, or you're just going to be another, just another doomsayer out there claiming that absolutely everything is conspiracy. I agree that there are many out there, but not everything is. There's not one behind every blade of grass. Mm-hmm. But it did not escape my attention that it's unusual for a man to be rolled in a wheelchair with his shin bones shattered, no feet or anything, just shattered shin bones and sinew and stuff hanging down that was once legs, and there's not a drop of blood, and this guy's conscious, and he's sitting upright. It's like, what? And then we jump over to Sandy Hook, and it's like, okay, now how long did it take the news copter, I want to say it's WABC, to get footage of a guy, streaming live video now, of a guy in camo pants and a black hoodie, dressed exactly the way that Adam Lanza was supposed to have been dressed, running through the woods. You know, the cops have got him down, and the next time you see him, he's in the front seat of a police car looking into a TV reporter's camera saying, I didn't do it. It's like, you didn't do that. And what are you doing in the front seat of the police car, and who is this guy? Mm-hmm. Well, some people have looked into it, and it's beginning to look like he may have been with the athletic department of one of the neighboring schools. And I have been working a little bit. I said working with Wolfgang Halbig. I'm not working with him. He's doing all the work. I just interview him. But this guy, Monty Frank, decided that he's going to go on a 26-mile bike ride last Tuesday, which is when the Freedom of Information, the Connecticut Freedom of Information Committee hearing was going to, answer some questions as to why they won't answer some questions. Mm-hmm. But he decided to go on a 26-mile bike ride to support gun control because we've had enough gun violence and we want to change and all of that. And so Wolfgang went up there anyway. And so now it's set for later on this month.
Wow.
But this stuff looks so funny. And then going back to the marathon deal, there's this child. When you watch this video on YouTube, you'll see this child clinging to its mom or clinging to a woman. Its little legs are bent. It is a girl. And it is reaching its arms around the neck. The problem is it's in exactly the same position repeatedly in every picture, and it is clearly a phony, inflatable doll. That is not a child. And by the way, what were all those Kraft International guys doing around there? What was up with that? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And going back to Sandy Hook, that school appears to have been closed for a while. Mm-hmm. And it just makes me sick. Yeah. And what makes me sicker is that the American people swallow it. I'll stop. Go ahead.
Oh no, it was so odd to me. Also, I watched some videos of the Sandy Hook situation, and I am of course a fan of Wolfgang Halbig's research, etc. Another one is Sophia Smallstorm. She's also put it together pretty nicely, and I look forward to maybe having a conversation with her one day.
Oh, yes.
Just a brilliant woman. Or brilliant person, I should say. So I saw the video of these people milling through in some type of a, orderly fashion, et cetera, from a view, from an aerial view. And, you could see that there was no panic, that it was definitely drill-like, procedures. It did not, but there was no sense of, urgencies, panic or anything like that with a lot of these milling people through the thing. And I believe there were some Christmas trees ordered that were stored in that area that were going to be used as with the names of the supposedly deceased children from the event. And the deceased people, the victims of Sandy Hook, et cetera, there were pre-ordered Christmas trees that were ready for what am I trying to say? To celebrate the lives of these supposedly deceased individuals, et cetera. Just the whole thing. And then the something else about the Sandy Hook thing I wanted to bring up real quick was the odd real estate purchases that had happened for $1 all around. I think it was Christmas Day, like the year before, and it was just. It was like this setup. They had all these homes that were sold for $1, all on Christmas Day. I believe it was Christmas. It could have been New Year's Day. Forgive me on that, but it was one of those two holidays. And to not pay attention to all of those things, and the name of Newtown, the fact that there was a FEMA drill situation set up, in the relative vicinity, and for people to buy into this because they are that. I don't know, dumbed down. I mean, we can get into that, of course, the fluoride in the water, et cetera, the food, the pharmaceuticals, all of it. But just to watch the American public chew up the latest, quote unquote disaster and not see it for what it is, which was, of course, an exercise in enforcing gun control, and basically just instilling fear and that type of thing in the population. So definitely interested in any more commentary that you have on these particular false flags. And again, not everything is a false flag, but these two instances that you're speaking about, of course, are without a doubt, just blatant exercises in various control of the population, perception, I should say.
That's exactly what it is, because, look, this is the fact of the matter. I think everybody knows this who just gives it 2 seconds worth of thought. And that is, if the American public decides to flip out, there won't be enough cops or military to contain them. They have to control them with propaganda. Mm-hmm. And there have been so many false flags, Gulf of Tonkin. Now, the word is, I can't prove this, but the word is that not only was Jim Morrison, lead singer of The Doors, father a Navy admiral, we've all heard that story, but I did not know that he was actually the admiral who was, let's just say, a key component in the Gulf of Tonkin incident. So, some of this stuff, you just can't make it up. Mm-hmm. And there have been so many false flags that I think it is incumbent upon us, before we get to the bottom of anything, to think, there are so many safeguards built into anything that some terrorist character could do. That said, a couple of trannies went up there and somebody got killed up at NSA at Fort Meade just yesterday or day before. We did have an AK-47 wielding guy show up in Langley some years ago and shoot and kill several CIA employees just lined up in their cars, ready to go to work. So these things can happen. Mm-hmm. But when there are so many unanswered questions about so many heinous events, we must look at it as this has got to be the government. Look, as far as the citizens are concerned, we're innocent until proven guilty. As far as I'm concerned, the government is guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're back on the air. Yes, oddly enough, we were interrupted with some great topics that we were talking about. Who knows what happened? So another reason you probably don't do live radio anymore.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure it was a very good idea to run absolutely everything over the Internet, although that said, that there would be no platform for what we're doing now if it were not for the Internet. I'm sure the government cannot wait to get its hands on regulating this kind of speech. That'll be next.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we were wrapping up some conversation about Sandy Hook, the Boston Marathon, and you were talking, you were mentioning got all kinds of people calling. I'm going to hang that up right now. All right.
Well, I was just saying that the citizens of the country need to be innocent until proven guilty. But it's the converse with the government. Given all the false flags, they should be presumed guilty until proven innocent, because there's too many side games going on. There's too much money involved. They're human beings, and they're flawed in most cases. Mm-hmm. Worse than the average American. I would submit that. Oh, are you being judgmental? Yep, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's based on years of observation. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm pulling the chat room back up to see what's going on. I had a lot of questions coming in from the chat. Since I'm all over the place at the moment, I'll see what I can find here.
Well, nothing is off limits, Angela. You just, just fire one off.
All right, great. To go back to the earlier part of the conversation, people want to know what got you into what they're calling alternative perspective media. That is the question specific.
Do you remember when, what was the name of that Harrison Ford picture with Sean Bean in it when he whacked out one of the so-called the Irish terrorists, if you could call them that, brother? You remember that one? Basically, it was I was in mainstream media for many years. Now, I didn't show up and put on my suit and tie and go and be a presenter, but I had a much better vantage point than even being a news anchor sitting on somebody's 6 o'clock news show. I never wanted to do that. Mm-hmm. I did want to tell good stories, but I did promos and things for all kinds of television stations, radio and TV stations all over the country. And I found that most of the time, now WFAA TV Channel 8 was really, it was a great station back in the 80s and 90s. But as time went by, it started getting lamer and lamer, to the point that the promo was much more exciting than the actual story. And many stories didn't run at all. And one of their best investigative reporters ever, a man named Charles Duncan, was eventually let go because they just didn't want him to do certain stories. And you have to ask yourself why. If it's in the community's interest, if it's in the city's interest, if it's in the citizenry's interest, why would you want to suppress something like this? Well, we just don't want to go there. Well, that's not really a good enough answer. So basically, the short answer to your question is that this whole mass media and this government both combined to really tick me off. Mm-hmm. And I just thought, I know some of you people, and I don't think that people like you should be in the position to influence hearts and minds without a challenge. Oh, so you're going to take it upon yourself to be the challenger? Yep, because apparently nobody else is willing to do it. And what makes me really dangerous is I don't really care what anybody thinks about it. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And they'll get rid of me. They'll figure out some way. I mean, if I go out there and make a mistake and it's a big one, you have to take responsibility for that. So you try not to make mistakes, and you pick not only your battles, but you pick your battlefield as well. So that's what got me into it. I'm sick of watching this country go down the toilet. Mm-hmm. I really am. This is the last chance for this particular run. This is the last chance for humanity to have any kind of semblance of freedom to think and express themselves, to act and do as they wish within the parameters of the law. And this is to be a nation of laws, not of men who can call a favor every once in a while. Oh, I know we all feel special when somebody knows somebody that can get us a deal or can get us out of a jam or whatever. Everybody likes that. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with people who have all kinds of power, and they're taking all kinds of liberties and getting all kinds of deals, I mean, like, that's part of their lifestyle. That's a little bit different than a citizen getting cut a break for something. Mm-hmm. So, and then you see the corruption, that Kennedy thing. Even when I was a child, that whole John F. Kennedy assassination just looked funny to me. It looked real funny. And it looks funnier still now. And so, after speaking with people like Judith Very Baker, I don't... I'll tell you what, if that lady is not on the level, then I'll pay for lying, because her story was so compelling and she connected the dots. You would have to be either so deeply schooled in, shall we say, tradecraft to be able to concoct a story like this, or she's absolutely, completely, 100% on the level. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the latter rather than the former. Mm-hmm. Lee Oswald was CIA. Osama bin Laden was CIA. We were fighting a proxy war against the Russians through the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. But this is nothing new. The British were in Afghanistan back in the, late 1800s. So, and the very first part of I think maybe even the first part of the 20th century. So, I don't know what the big fixation on Afghanistan is, but England's been in there, the Russians have been in there, and now we're in there. I don't know if they're all into the opium trade. Maybe they were. Maybe that's what this is all about. Maybe this is about the poppy fields, Mm-hmm. And we're not talking Flanders fields, Mm-hmm. Flanders fields, the poppies grow between the crosses row on row. Well, that's a little bit more poignant of a piece of poetry than I think anybody could guess. There's a lot of money in drugs, mm-hmm. and there's a lot of money in weapons. And if you can get drug money and weapon money, you got yourself a real cash cow. You got a whole herd of cash cows.
Well, let's go ahead and add some Monsanto into the mix. I mean, why not get your GMO poppy? saying.
Well, the drugs probably wouldn't be as good. That's probably the only reason they haven't done it yet.
Yeah, true that. I see that whole thing happening. It happens with the marijuana situation that's going on in the United States. There are, in Washington, I believe there was an allotment for the recreational, there's a recreational use thing happening now. People are able to recreationally use marijuana, and there were enough slots to provide 2,700 growers, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, to 2,200, 2,700, something like that, of people who can grow for some type of distribution for the stores, etc. But they cut it way down. I think it was under 100, and it was because they were looking to. I jumped topics. I apologize. To throw the Monsanto, the Frankenweed into the mix. They wanted to regulate the plant and the crops, etc., and not necessarily leave that open to the small grower, the small time grower. So I don't see GM poppy all that far off the map. I really don't. I mean, guns, bio waste, drugs, pretty much, that's a nice trio there if you are looking for a cash cow, absolutely.
Well, yeah, and I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, it doesn't say in the Bible for no reason that the root of all evil is money. The love of money is the root of all evil. So it's like, I mean, how much money do you really need? 100 million, 200 million, $500 million, another billion. I mean, really, after you've had your drink and your smoke and your, if you'll excuse the expression, the shag on the roof of your building down there. Okay, well, what is there left to do? Well, I want to buy a whole bunch of buildings so that I can go to different buildings and have a smoke and a shag and a drink up on the roof. That's what I want. Yeah, I want more. It's greed. If you don't want me to play this card, you want me to back off it a little bit, I will. But I must be honest with you, and that is this. That is in this. People have turned away from any accountability toward the ultimate judge of our behavior, and that would be our Creator, sometimes known as God Almighty. And I think what people have forgotten is that you didn't come into this world to do whatever you wanted to do. You came into this world to serve your Creator. You were given free will so that you would not be a robot. You have been enabled to make choices. But the mission remains the same. You are to serve your Creator. Do you know where you were before you were born? No. Do you know where you will be after you die? No. But you know all about whether or not there's a God, or you know all about the origins of the universe. You know all these things, right? You know it to a certainty. That's right, you don't. So when you look at what has happened, well, the Crusades, that's what made all the Islamics mad. No, they've been doing that for a long time. Mm-hmm. Sunni against Shia, against this one, against that one. It's like the beheadings. Oh, God, they beheaded somebody. Well, beheading somebody is a terrible thing, but I wonder how many citizens have been convicted in Saudi Arabia who have been beheaded in just, say, the last 30 days. Probably 10 times the number of beheadings have occurred there legally than the ones just that we know about, various contractors and reporters and this and that. But that operation doesn't skip a beat. Nobody says anything. We continue to do business with them. Everything's okay. Mm-hmm. So what we have really, it is possible to oversimplify things, but it appears that we have several things have happened simultaneously to reduce the human being, the American citizen in particular, to what the citizen is today. And that is endless distraction, endless amusement, endless crisis, and endless threats.
Mm-hmm. We're at a break, John, so if you can hold that thought, we will be back in about 4 or 5 minutes. And so if you need
Sounds great.
Okay, great. See you in a few minutes, everyone. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. John B. Wells is my guest tonight.